Mike Vallerie from Canton, joining you live to give you guys the news and notes from day 3 of the Senior Bowl after the Stinger. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Sorry for the technical difficulties with the last one here, but wanted you guys to know that you guys are now getting the nighttime. You got the super bright light, and now we have the daytime podcast. Got this window in front of me, so we got some proper lighting for once. I am absolutely tired. I'm pooped. I'm not as tired as some of the players here. To go over who was not present at the Senior Bowl. Brew McCoy left early. Etienne was rumored to be leaving early, but he was here. And then a ton of players on defense. Deion Walker, Maxwell, Hairston was gone. Kennard was gone. Stewart, the Texas A&M edge, he was also out of there too. So a lot of defensive talent left early. Offensive side of the ball, I believe it was just Brew that left, and they brought in Kobe Hudson, wide receiver from UCF, final day. It's a little bit relaxed. The third day is always more relaxed, a little bit more lower steam. One of the coaches for the team is the special teams coordinator from the Browns. So we had a lot of special teams work today, a lot of walkthroughs too. We're going to go by rosters, national, then American roster, by position group. Starting off with the national roster, quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck, Dylan Gabriel, Taylor Elgersma. I'm going to mess that up. There's nothing really new to report. It's more of the same. I think Dylan Gabriel stands out the most in the group. He's been the most accurate passer from the last couple of days. He's also had a little bit more ability too. Like, they don't really want you guys going out of the pocket, but they had one little rollout for Dylan Gabriel. Like, he didn't do anything with the ball, but it was actually kind of nice to see that they got him out of the pockets. Most of these guys, they just keep him in the pocket, and that's it. There's not a lot of deep balls. The fields are kind of cut in half. So I kind of want to just say, like, the arm strength and arm talent always really isn't on display. It's just not like that type of environment. But still, it was a good day. A lot less mistakes. I commented about that as day 2. So these like fumble snaps, stuff like that, it gets really cleaned up. So another like good day for the quarterback group. The running back side, I did not watch the RB versus linebacker 1v1s. Yesterday, I watched them. Linebackers really just want to cover the underneath routes. We're just giving up the overhead. So it was kind of like, if that's someone to play the ball, I thought that I could probably go back, watch that later. In 11v11s, though, we saw a lot more running plays. Ali Gordon just up the middle, really nothing special. Jaquavius Marks had a nice kind of like breakaway, and then he just slipped and fell on the turf. It really sucked because it was just like, man, if he just didn't fall, like, I think it would have been it was very close to being a viral clip if he just did not slip and fall over himself there. So Donovan Edwards down the middle. Defense is really showing out here. So there really wasn't much takeaways from the running back group here. Pat Bryant kind of stood out day 1. Like, he looked pretty solid, and he just couldn't build onto that momentum, right? Day 2, like, it really wasn't too much notable. Even today, at the end of practice, when they do like the 1v1 call outs, he won his routes twice. So the first time, they didn't even throw the ball. It was funny. He got open. He cooked the DB, and like I don't know what happened, but the quarterback didn't throw the ball. So everyone's like, what's going on? They're all yelling. So they reline up, and he wins the route twice in a row. I got those clips on Twitter. I know I got those. So that was really awesome for Pat Bryant to end on the positive note. He's certainly like a bubble guy. I believe you should probably see. I think there'll be graphics out there saying that he's a stock up. I think he showed out this week. He didn't like look bad at all. So I still think he's a fringy like day 2, day 3 player. But a good day. Daquan Felton's also really cleaned up his mistakes too. He's got some nice 2 like good extension grabs on the day, but really quiet from both Virginia Tech. Jalen Lane had one awesome route, an awesome adjustment in the air for nice body control catch. But that's probably like been his only highlight the entire week. So not looking like. It's got to be stock down for the 2 Tech wide receivers. Restrepo's been a hit the whole week. All the big media guys are always talking to him too at the end of practice. So I could not get an interview with him. I'm just a small fish, man. I'm over here recording my little iPhone, and they got like the $1,000 camera on the shoulder. Like, you can't do it. Higgins had a fine day today. Kyle Williams and Jalen Royals were real quiet today. Excuse me, Royals isn't with this group, so scratch off Jalen Royals in this. But Kyle Williams. And yeah, it's Kyle Williams. Real quiet today. I thought we'd see a little bit more from him today. There really wasn't much to note. Jalen Noel, a little quiet too as well. Tez Johnson, same stuff for Tez. Tez and Restrepo, probably the most consistent receivers out here. They're going to be locked in. like day 2 picks. Like they should be there. And also just we'll all talk about it. And honestly, every single podcast is going to talk about it for the next 30 days about his size. And it's going to be a very much like a gut check. It's one of those things of like, well, is he going to end up being like Calvin Austin, who was here and was the number one wide receiver, like voted by the DBs while he was here too. So it's going to be like, is he Calvin Austin or is he Tank Dell? Is he Tutu Atwell or is he, insert some other small wide receiver? I thought the footwork was there. And at the very least, he can like stretch the field here too. So if like, the downside is Tutu Atwell, but we started seeing the Steelers like deploy Calvin Austin successfully, like towards the end of the season. So it's a new league. Size is becoming, a non-factor the way these fouls are kind of having out there. So I think Tez can be a contributor in a rotational role. Like I think he could be a starter year 1. Terrence Ferguson, another like step up. Harold Fannin looked great today. Like I know there's a lot of people kind of like complaining about his, like he looks stiff in the hips and when he turns and stuff. It's still like some of the blocking tight ends that are out here. So just like Gavin Bartholomew, like Maliki, I can't even say his last name, but Maliki, Hawes, like you can still tell you might be stiff compared to like what you expect him to be. Like, he's not Brock Bowers, but like he's not as stiff as those guys. Like that's for sure. He still like looks smooth as a pass catcher. So Fannin was fine. Arroyo, I can't say he like lost steam, but the highlight plays weren't as big as last week. Caught an awesome touchdown in the end zone for the red zone drills. He was just kind of wide open though, but he caught it and then immediately just punted into the stands. It was pretty awesome to see him do that. That was really fun. The DBs, I think it's more the same, dude. Azariah Thomas he's got a fan in me. I think Azariah Thomas is just going to be like a killer at FSU. Sorry, from SFU, wherever he was in the NFL. Like he really was. I think he's probably the best corner that was here. Tommy Hill had some good routes today. Dorian Strong was kind of quiet from Virginia Tech. I actually don't think he was there today. Maybe he left early too. And then Quincy Riley is also in the second tier of players to look out for as far as the DBs go. The safeties, I said this last time. I'm going to say it again, dude. Rayan Lane from Navy has been getting cooked like bad. Like he's been getting cooked bad. It really does suck because you always like to see the Surf Academy guys like do well, but Lane's been getting cooked. It really quiet from Max and Hook, and I think Castro had one good rep, but kind of quiet from those guys. Jonas Sanker from Virginia, maybe the safety one in this group. Probably is actually. So Jonas Sanker was just electric out there. The linebackers, I don't really have much to say about anything. Justin Barron had a great forced fumble and an interception today. So he ended the day really, really strong. Going over to the American roster, quarterbacks, Jackson Dart had a great day. Jalen Milroe, I'm going to give Jalen Milroe some respect here. He looks a little small, and his bad throws, like they are terrible. I mean, they are bad. But he's like one of the only quarterbacks here taking like legit deep shots, like throwing the ball deep. Everyone's throwing these like just 10 yards and probably closer routes, but Jalen Milroe has been challenging the defense deep. And sometimes he's like these placements are like they're in a bucket sometimes. And like I said, then the bad ones are just, I mean, they're terrible. Like they're just way off. I thought Jackson Dart had trouble getting off his first read when especially in these end zone drills. He kind of had one where he the first read wasn't open. All the receivers started actually like shifting to the right side of the field. So he also started like escape the pocket, running to the right side of the field to like extend the play. And he just kept doing pump fakes and he couldn't find anyone and he just threw the ball away. So a fine day by Jackson Dart, but I think the limitations were a little bit more on display today, even though this is today where like people really care the least on day 3. Like their opinions already solidified going into day 3. So that was interesting. Riley Leonard, whatever. Riley Leonard, Seth Hennigan, they're fine. The passes got a little better. They're a little bit more on target. I think it's more of a comfortable thing. But they clearly weren't like as an accurate passer as Dylan Gabriel, for example, or even Jackson Dart. The running backs, we saw a very healthy amount of running backs in the 11v11s here. Brashard Smith looked good. He looks really explosive. Like he looks like he's the athlete. Trevor Etienne had a great up the middle run. That was kind of showed some nice power too. Devin Neal had some nice catches over the middle, but like he jumps to like, I'm trying to see how I say this. People were really harsh in reacting to like Garrett Wilson when he jumps to catch the ball. He doesn't need to jump. This is kind of like that with Devin Neal, where he kind of jumps, but like he just needs to extend his hands. He doesn't really like want to get his hands like outside his frame. So I think he wants to tuck the ball in too fast. but I would love to see him just kind of extend a little faster and get around a little faster. But a very reliable like dump off. All these guys are really good in the passing game, honestly. These guys are like dropping balls or double catching because there's a lot of double catching last year, but all these guys are reliable. Marcus Yarns has some nice burners. So questions for Chris Moxley, your longtime fan, first time caller. Marcus Yarns, baller or no? He's got the smallest frame. Like when you like go up, talk to them, you're like next to them. Like he's probably the skinniest guy on the upper half of the body. So he could be a change of pace plus type of guy. And I think he can find a household like a day 3 household, but it's a skill set that I think it's like dime a dozen unless you're special at it. So I don't want to say it's not a baller, but like I don't think I would expect him to do much at the NFL level. He'll get drafted though, like absolutely, and he'll stick around the team for a little bit too. But Jarquez Hunter had the ball ripped out of him, so forced fumble. So that was kind of tough to see. I think that was like the second day that's happened, I believe. But yeah, over the middle of the field, caught the ball. It was kind of like one of those awkward, like there's no hitting, right? There's no hitting, doesn't mean dudes don't fall on the ground. But he fell on the ground, they just ripped the ball out. And everyone was like rooting for it. Everyone was like, oh, really hype stuff, pretty good stuff. I think Tella, like the burners are on display. Dude's got speed. If he wins, he kind of wins with speed deep. And that's kind of the same thing with Jalen Noel from the other team. If he wins with speed deep. It's kind of like he can get clamped on the underneath and the short routes. DK's been super quiet all week. I haven't really talked about him, but he's been quiet all week. And even Kobe Hudson, who they brought in today, I think he had 3 1v1 reps, and I don't think he won one of the 3 1v1 reps. So very quiet. I'm going to skip over to the highlight player, though. Jack Bech has been fire all week. And it was pretty tight because it's one of those players that I really liked going into the final, before Senior Bowl started. He can separate. Like he's getting good separation. He finds soft spots in the zones too. And he's got I think he had the most reliable hands out there. Like there was no drops and like really tough contested catch stuff, some good extension stuff too. He's just lacking that top gear. And I keep saying that shit. I keep saying it all week. He makes the catch and then the DBs kind of get him, like they catch up on him. They get him on him pretty fast. And I think we had a question. I got to pull it up from the Discord. From Adam C. If you have time to go live on Super Bowl Day 3 recap, I'm curious what you think about Greathouse versus Beck as players and their play styles. Beck isn't someone that I know much about besides the CFF and scored a bunch of points for a tight end. I think Beck locked up day 2 draft capital. Like I would just lock it in there. I do think athletic limitations are scary, and we can always point to successful guys like Allen Robinson was a good athlete. I think Keenan Allen was hurt for his, so he's a little bit underrated as an athlete. But there are guys that can separate that just don't do much. So I think where I'm going to go with this is that I have some faith that he can be a reliable chain mover. I'm not expecting him to like put up 100-yard games in the NFL, but I could see him do like 40 for 40, like 4 for 40, like each game, and just be able to, like a number 3, like a reliable number 3. And just kind of like do that. And he clearly is like a dog out there. Like he's cut up. Like he took off his jersey today. Dude's shredded. They're all shredded. I mean, they're about to be NFL players, but he's just like scraped up with turf and stuff like that. It's like the dude like loves ball. Like he's all about it. So he's not afraid to lay his body on the line. It was really cool to watch that. Royals though was kind of another player that's kind of a riser throughout the week. But man, dude, that dude was a ghost today. Like there was no good 1v1 routes from him today. Just real quiet. Like I don't. It's the last day, so if you're gonna be real quiet, like be quiet in the last day. But really didn't separate himself out today. Ty Felton is another guy that people liked, and he just didn't really separate himself out today at all. Like some of the footwork's good. He had a really nice double move cut across the middle in the 1v1 drills. All these guys are draftable assets to me. They're all draftable. I think Jalen Royals was definitely on like the solidified day 2, and now I'm like, I don't know. But we're at the end of the week, and if you like ask me who's the day 2 picks out of this class, obviously Tez, Xavier Restrepo, Higgins, Jack Bech, and probably Jalen Royals. Last year we had 6. I think there's 5 this year. Arian Smith, like dude's a nice guy. He can't catch a cold. Like he just can't catch a cold. Legit speed. Same with Tesla. Like he'll find a role, probably special teamer. And like we'll see what happens after that. The tight ends, Mason Taylor still doing his thing. I think Mason Taylor might have locked up tight end 3 in the whole class. He was cooking out there. The prior years, we used to be linebackers would cover the tight ends and the 1v1s. This year, they didn't mix the DB. They didn't mix the cornerbacks with the safeties. They kept them separated. Like, they still did drills together, but like for the most part, they separated the two groups out. So the safeties actually covered the tight ends this year. And I think I have no idea, and I'm sure someone on Twitter has done it. If you go and see like how many reps has Mason Taylor won this week, I think he's probably won every single one but one. Like it would be like 8 out of 9 or like 9 out of 10. He's just different out there. He moves really well. His dad was there too. I couldn't see him, but it was cool. CJ Dupree just couldn't separate. I think he might be the worst tight end in the group that came here. Jake Billenstool was probably the number 2 in this group. Fedone has some good reps today too. The highlight, though, Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor is the highlight. Harold Fannin lost some money. I'm just going to be honest. I think Harold Fannin lost some money. I think teams were looking at him as like a late second, talking to some NFL guys that I think that's kind of like where they were looking for him. I think he's moving himself from like late second, early third to like 4th round. And I think he's like a day 3 tight end now after what we saw today or seen this week. Yes. And we also interviewed Harold Fannin today. So that was pretty cool. It was great because he's just like, oh, you know, like I don't want to ask stereotypical questions, but we asked him like, hey, you know, Madden does rookies dirty. Like, what's your best attribute on Madden when you get up there next year? And he's just like, oh, my catching. You know, I had 117 catches this year. I'm just like, dude, we know you're the MVP to us. Like, you won us leagues. You're the man. Like, we love you. We think that you got gypped. Stuff like that, man. So that was pretty cool. The corners for this class, Brandon Adams had a better day. He's really up and down. Jacob Harris has been pretty rough most of the time, but had a great pass breakup. Harrison was not present today. His dad was present, though. His dad was there. He wore like the Harrison shirt with Harrison all over it. And he's like, yeah, my son's here. You know, and I'm just like, yeah, that's really awesome. Trey Amos was hurt, so he didn't come here either today. I'm sure it was a minor injury. I think it looks minor to me, so I'm not too worried about it. Mac McWilliams, I think, was a big stock up. Melvin Smith had really good like day 1 and then just kind of like faded into like day 2, day 3. So small school guy, I think he really showed out, which I think would be a stock up for a small school guy. And then Mac McWilliams is like he's got to be the DB3 on this roster probably. And Upton Stout from Western Kentucky looked really good today. He had a very good pick today. He was very much locked up. He had a really nice read on, I believe it was RJ Harvey going around the side, and he shed the block off. I think it was Felton. It's not the Felton class. It's might have been Higgins. He shed the block off Higgins and just wrapped up RJ Harvey right away in the backfield. It was pretty awesome. The safeties, Dante Trader looked great. I don't know if he was there today, but Dante Trader looked great all week. Ransall kind of got burnt by Jack Best on a deep ball from Jalen Milroe. Billy Bowman, Wohler, and have been kind of rough. And then Dan Jackson was fine too. But Bowman and Wohler have been rough this week, to say the least. I think that's going to wrap it up. Jack Kaiser looked good, the linebacker from Notre Dame. Really bad day 1. Day 2, day 3 really made up for it. Walter Dolan's been good. Deion Walker's been good. Deion Walker wasn't here today. They brought in a Wake Forest linebacker. I couldn't find the name on the internet. He had a pick in the end zone as well, so he had one good play. He was a late addition. Can't get that name, though. Kennard left, too, as well. Kyle Kennard from South Carolina. And Shamar Stewart. So both those edges, you can go ahead and lock those guys up as like early day 2 picks. Like they were cooking out there. The lineman from Arizona, Jonas, I don't want to mess it up, but Jonah, the lineman from Arizona, that's kind of gets some like late first round hype. He's been getting beat. Him and Connolly have been getting beat, and that's kind of been really surprising to me being out here. So I've grown to become a skeptic of those two players. Guys, I think that's probably it. I don't think there's any real RBs that look like a stock down or a stock up. Everyone kind of looked as expected. They look good. No one was really too bad. The wide receivers, once again, Tez Johnson, Restrepo, Jack Best, Jaden Higgins, and Royals are like the top 5 for sure. No idea why Brew McCoy left early, by the way. I mentioned that earlier. No idea why he left early. His parents were there too. So like I think they expected to be there for the whole week. So maybe he got hurt. I don't know. Maybe someone hurt his feelings. Stuff like that. Mason Taylor for the tight ends. That's who you want. You want Mason Taylor. Harold Fannin, not terrible. I don't want to write him off, but I'm adjusting. I'm going to adjust a little bit. All right, guys. For everyone that's joined me, all of you out there, appreciate your time. I gotta go catch a flight. I'm gonna take a nap on this flight. I'm pretty pumped about that. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll be here next year. See you guys.